What's up, everybody? We're back in the same clothes because we are just rolling on. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, please go back and watch it. We're going to link the playlist right up here. And also subscribe, like, and comment, and we are going to jump right in.
I did want to start off by just real quick, just saying that, like, you know, these couple of episodes is getting into like the nitty gritty stuff of our relationship, a little bit of a darker side, a little bit of like our lower end where we were, it's really the foundation of where a lot of our growth came and our own lessons and how, you know, the beginning stages of us really transitioning in our lives, both individually and as a couple and in many ways. And so we will be sharing a lot of lessons and they're all not like fun.
Well, we got to get to where the rock bottoms were before you start to rebuild.
Right.
And that's a big part of what we want to share, because without the rock bottoms, we wouldn't be where we are today.
Totally, right. So I just wanted to, like, it's not like it's all like doom and gloom now, like from here. We will be sharing funny stories and kind of getting into other things as well.
It's like doom and gloom and then fun and then doom and gloom.
Yeah, it's like a roller coaster.
And then inspirational and fun.
But there's a lot of moving parts, and like one of the main reasons we wanted to share our story is because we feel like we have learned so much throughout our own experience, and we wanted to take those lessons and share them in a relatable way, because we're real people who've had a real relationship and have learned a lot, and hopes to help and inspire other people. And so we have to share those lessons because that is what is in our hearts and in our souls, and we know that we have to share them because it's changed our own lives and relationships so dramatically.
Well, we also feel really led to tell these stories, and what's funny about this is we're dipping, I'm talking like 8 years back, and they feel like they were yesterday. Like how clear and how vivid and how I can still feel it. And so I feel like that's why we were supposed to share these. Like they were that vivid for us to share.
They're like on our hearts.
Yeah.
Because it's really the backbone. Like we said, these lessons and these stories in the beginning of our relationship and throughout the years, but they're the backbone of our own self-development, of our own growth, of our own, you know, spirituality, and us like turning our lives around. This is the guts of everything
of how we did it
that we are putting out there. And so anyways, that's kind of where we're at. So
well, with that being said, let's start the timer.
Let's go.
So here we go. 7 minutes is starting. So where we left off was we were talking about how, you know, we would get into these massive fights, and they weren't just like Kim going to the room, slamming the door and being quiet. They were like massive, neighbors involved, dirty. Yeah. And so what I was getting,
or emotion or verbally, not like physically.
Yeah.
I think I did hit you one time. We'll get into that. Okay.
But anyway, so what we were saying was I had never faced somebody like that before. Monster. And so like usually as, you know, male feeling like, all right, like I'll just raise my voice, beat my chest, and she'll back down. She'll be like, oh my God, right? No. Kim would go the next level, dig the heels in, and just not physically throw a jab, but she knew what to say to just take it to that next level. So then I would get angrier, and then angrier, and then angrier, and everything that she was saying was just nicking away at me, and it was just verbal. And so what I started to do was started to be very unhealthy, was just start to find a way to break her down. How can I break her down? Because obviously... Because
you yelling at me didn't break me down.
No, and I'm not going to get physical. I'm not going to get physical. I don't believe in that. That is beyond anything that would ever even cross my mind to get physical with her. Well, I'm just saying, like, some people, like, you know, it's a problem. Yeah. I don't believe in that. There's no reason. I don't care. You can walk away. But I learned that if I packed a suitcase, no matter how angry she was, and walked out the door, she would just knees, limp all of a sudden. And I started to learn. Crying like a baby, calling me, please come back, don't leave me, don't leave me. All of a sudden she would return to a human state. And it was like, huh. Yeah. Okay, so this is what's going to happen, because in my head I realized I had to get her to a point that she would be crying enough that I could hold her and hug her so tight that she would actually just, you could feel her kind of loosen up. And I wanted to choke. No, I'm just playing.
You probably did.
No, but I would actually, you know, just kind of
like a sleeper
hold her and just kind of rock back and forth, and she would pass out. And once she would go to sleep, then I knew the next morning we could talk about this as normal human beings. And I would just hope and pray that me saying that she was being controversial on the radio wasn't some deep thing that really pissed her off, and it was just some insecurity that was coming forward.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, like, you know, it makes me like even emotional to think about that, because it was like, it's such a crazy place to be. But when Erran would pack his stuff and he would leave, that triggered me. Like, that was the one thing that triggered me, because it played on my insecurities of not feeling good enough, of not feeling loved, of not feeling like worthy of a relationship, that people wouldn't stick around because I wasn't worth anything. And he would leave and I would be like broken, and you would like go sit in your truck.
I would never leave. I would sit in my truck and turn on the radio, and I would put on a timer and say she's gonna call me within 10 minutes, and sure enough she would. Because
I always had this deep rooted fear of like people leaving me and people like walking out of my life, and he would do it, and it would literally bring me to my knees, and
which is what I needed at the time, but it wasn't healthy, and you'll see that later on. Yeah,
it was such a sad place, but but what were we gonna say about that?
Well, the next morning.
So, right, because
we got 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
We touched on the fact last time about the alcohol is not the excuse, right? Like, it's just allowing everything that's already happening and everything that's already going on in here and here and here. It just allows it makes it easier for it to come out, right? And so when we're sober, we have a better we can keep things locked down. Like, we're good at that. And so it just it allows everything to come. And so we at least were intelligent enough, or at least tuned in enough, that we knew, okay, this wasn't the alcohol. Like, we're not gonna push this underneath the rug and pretend it never happened and just be like, sorry, I was drunk again.
Yeah, oopsie. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. Like, let's have a good day today. Let's have fun today.
Let's just go do whatever. Yeah, let's just get over it, right? Because we always would have that, I would have this feeling of like, my eyes would open, and I'm sure you can relate to this, but like your eyes open and you have that heart sunken feeling, that gut feeling of like, oh my God, something really, really bad happened. And like, I always knew right away, like, shit, like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe this happened. And so, we would get up, glare at each other, and then like sit down, and one of us would
be like, let's talk. And I would always hope it would be her starting.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk? Like, I just want to say I'm really sorry. And there'd be some little like eruptions that would come out of it. But in the most part, I can honestly tell you, it wouldn't matter if we had tickets to go see the president or whatever you think is your biggest thing that you would never turn down.
Yeah.
Kim and I would actually turn down any plans we had, and we would sit and we would rehash it. And that's something that I'm very proud of both of us, because I would actually say, do you realize what you did, what you said? This is what you said, this is what you did. And I would say it back to her, and she would hear it and be like, oh my God. Because if you ever videotaped yourself drunk and you were doing something silly, you know how hard it is to watch that back? You get that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like, that's not me. But when you actually watch it back, you're actually like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore.
Right.
And that's what we did without a video camera. We were able to express back and forth.
Right. I think, like, because you made it very real for me. Like, instead of just being like, you were acting like an asshole last night, like, he would replay the details of things that I was doing, not to like make me feel bad, not to like push me down, but to make me aware
Where is this coming
of the fact that like, this is what happened. I am not downplaying this. Where the F is this coming from? Because this is blowing my mind. And like, hearing him tell me how I was acting, because of course I didn't remember, was like a wake-up call. Like, holy crap, what is going on inside of me that this is coming out? Because right now I don't feel that way. So what triggered me to be like crazy?
Well, and that's what we would say. We got 5 seconds. We would say, is this really how you feel? And she'd be like, no. And so I'm like, okay, well, we gotta move. Like,
yeah. So I think like the biggest takeaway is that, again, we would sit down and we would hash it out. We wouldn't like push it under the rug. We would get down to the nitty gritty. We would walk away with some kind of growth, some kind of understanding, some kind of like momentum to move forward in a positive way of where did that come from? How can we work on it? And how can we move forward? And if it took all day, it took all day.
It would always be, and then we'd kind of be like draggy and crappy, you know, all day on Sunday. And then it was funny because then Monday morning, it was like Kim would have time to reflect.
Yeah, and then I worked 3 to 11.
She worked 3 to 11, I worked in the morning. So she would have her alone time and she would reflect, and she would always text me at like 10, 11 o'clock with, this is what I learned, blah, blah, blah. So we're cutting it here.
7 minutes.
7 minutes, that's the rule. But go. No, go.
Yeah, just again, let us know your takeaways, your lessons. Does this resonate with you? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Have you ever been in a situation like this? Do you like, you know, get drunk and do crazy stuff? Like, let us know we're not alone and connect with us. We love hearing from you. Like, subscribe.
And just know the drinking is not just an excuse. Get to the bottom of what it is. Or else you're going to keep seeing it every time you drink.
Yeah, because now I'm a happy drunk.
Oh, dude. Yeah. We have so much fun.
I never, like, I am not an angry drunk. I am not a fighter. Like, we just laugh and have fun. And so it's not the drinking. I still drink just as much, but I'm a hell of a lot more fun nowadays.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Anyway.
All right, guys. We love you. Subscribe, like, comment, and we will see you next week, next Tuesday. We might be in the same clothes because we're feeling this, man.
We'll see.
We're feeling it. All right.